Nicole, thank you for having me on today. I am very well. It's off and on in Texas, the same thing. It's either cold or it's warm or I don't know what it is and I don't know what to wear. So I'm just layering up every day. And by the afternoon, it's gone. Or, you know, I need an extra blankie on my bed. It's all good. A happy new year to everybody. It's going to be a great year. 22 is all about you. That's my new slogan. No, it's not new. I guess a lot of people are having it, but I came up with that one. 22 is all about you, and just kind of feel lifted and feel good. We're just gonna attack it, right? Instead of um, being the victim of everything that's going on. Not that I like it. It's just really difficult, and I understand how difficult it is for everybody around us. It's constant. I have a lot of patients. I have a lot of clients in my life coaching practice, and with exercise, we do a lot to try to stay fit and stay healthy above all. Because if we have a good body, we are better equipped, right, for anything that's coming to us. If we feel a little bit more, uh, so if we feel a little stronger and healthier. So try to do that as much as you can for yourself to feel that you are at least keeping up with some things that are healthy for you. And today we're going to work on some of the very basics of balance. I love that so much because the balance is so important. And how many years have we just kind of ignored that till we come to the part where we are having a fall risk, or we are having that fear of falling set in. And that's what I do a lot with my work. We just work a lot on trying to prevent that scare of tripping or falling over something. And I always say, and it sounds a little weird, but I always say, fall gracefully if you fall, because that is the whole thing. If you are a little bit stronger and you know what you're doing, then maybe you can still accidentally kind of trip over something, but you know how to catch yourself. You're a little stronger. You're just kind of falling in the graceful way, if that makes any sense. It's just a difficult thing to deal with, but if you know, then you are less fearful, right, of something happening to you. So if you are working on that balance. The thing that is really big with balance now is that there's a lot of balance training for people that are, we call that 55 plusers. And since we have never really paid attention to it in the first place, now we're going to try to pay attention to it. And I'm going to share a screen with you and see if um, some of those things are making sense for you. So, whoop, my screen was a little weird there. Excuse me. So this is like a little PowerPoint about balance and posture. And we're going to start talking about posture a lot as well, because that's one of my pet peeves, and posture is so important. I talk about it a lot. And I think it's one of my main things. I like to talk about it so much because oops, start from the beginning. Yes, you can see it. We talk about it so much because it's one of the things that is going out of the window. And maybe you heard me say a lot, maybe in a couple of more thousand, hopefully a lot of thousand more years, but we're all back on all fours. Humans, if we don't watch out, because the kids have a bad posture because they are playing so much games and doing everything forwards, and we're working forward so much, and we're sitting so much, especially now, including myself, way more than before. And so if you are taking that into consideration and kind of look around you, then you see a lot of people that are getting a bad posture, or having an increasingly leaning forward posture, and that's very bad for us. That has to do with it. And another thing is that we are just sometimes not aware of it. You might work and sit at a desk, or you might work in a service job and you're still kind of leaning in and leaning forward. So that's an important thing. And secondly, a lot of things with posture have to do with your mental state of mind too. So it's both. It's together. If we are not feeling yay, then we're gonna kind of like be in our blah mode. So, and that's very normal too, because everybody does that. You don't really feel that awareness all the time, but our shoulders are kind of forward a little bit, and we don't feel good, and that immediately reflects in our posture and in the way we carry ourselves. So for that, we just have to kind of practice that. And how I start practicing posture is that I start going back to where I came from in the early ballet days, and how my mother really saved me and my spine and my back with my back problems from having surgery, because she said, well, let's just put that little girl in ballet. But it helped me correct my spine because I was born with a huge scoliosis. So I always have back pain and chronic pain, but I can adjust it and kind of modify and work with it. And so that way, it's not really a truth factor at all that if you have a pain in your spine because of a scoliosis or a lordosis, that necessarily you can't do anything anymore. You can definitely move through it and adjust and take care of some of the pain, which I have done since I was young. So we need good balance and we need good posture to start with that, and to do all the basic moves, right? So walking, get up from a chair, just it all requires balance, and we don't really think about it till all of a sudden it's kind of out of the window, or we feel unstable, or we feel insecure about it, and we are not taught to pay attention to it all the time. Strong muscles, of course, are very, very important for that balance training. And today my intent is just to let you walk away with a feeling of at least 5 or 10 exercises that you can do everywhere to improve your balance and your posture a little bit. It is definitely important that posture, fall prevention, to improve stability. That's what we're doing. And then I'm going to add on in the intensity level. So if you are really good at it and you want to add on something, then I'm going to add on some stability and mobility. So you're going to fall, for instance, sideways and pretend that you're falling, but you're coming back to your standing leg. So that would be an improvement of balance training. It would be kind of like an increase in difficulty level. So balance training here, I said, involves exercises that strengthen the muscles, because we got to keep carrying ourselves up with our leg muscles. So you can do squats and lunges, and very little bit of that to improve that strength. Even when you're sitting, I'm going to show you that today, you can improve that. And you have to have a strong core, and that core includes the upper leg and belly. Of course, we're gonna kind of pull it all together and make yourself as slim as possible to feel those abs, but they're there, and you can feel it when you are really imagining kind of pulling. You've heard me say this before, when we pull the zipper of those really tight jeans that we used to have. Nowadays, a lot of generations have no clue what tight jeans is because it's all stretchy material. But we still remember how you have to lay back on your bed and really pull that zipper with my sound effects with it. So if you remember that feeling, then that's your abdominal wall that you're really kind of contracting there and that you're strengthening. And if we have that feeling, and we can do that a couple of times a day, even if you're creating an awareness of it for it, and you do it a couple of times a day, then that's great. Because if you do that, then you kind of feel the activation of the abs, and you are already working them just by even sitting up straight and kind of pulling them in and feeling that. So I know you're doing that right now. Just got to look in. And balance exercises can be very intense. So some people think, well, oh, yeah, I don't have to do that. It's just not even exercise. Well, it actually is exercise, because it can be very intense when you start doing it and you start adding some movement to it, or you start adding some time to it, in a sense of increasing the holding time, and then it becomes very intense. So you can feel that. And some are as simple as just standing on one leg and trying that out. So that's what we're going to start with. That's already a pretty intense exercise in itself. And you can also use equipment. So in the gym, I work with a Bosu ball, for instance, and you've seen that. That's one of those half balls, a circle. It's kind of a big ball cut in half. And if you are able to work with your balance, and you're a little bit more equipped, and you improve, and you feel strength, and you can start training with it, with that equipment. And you can put one foot on it, and it kind of like wobbles. Of course, underneath it's just like a half ball. It wobbles like crazy. But that's a really good way of improving balance. But it's not even necessary to go to equipment and to purchase it. It's very expensive. And you can just do it with a staircase. So if you have a staircase at home and you would put your foot on it and one a little higher on one step above, then you can do the same training. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. We are starting with just beginners and moderate levels because we want to start slow, and anything done slow is always very effective. So my big words are always SER. I always use the word simple. It has to be simple. You have to find something that you can feel and that is effective for you. And it doesn't have to be, a full choreography. So find something simple and find something that is effective. You immediately feel it's working, and that will definitely lead to results. So in this case, we don't have to go for the overnight gratification, right? I'll leave that up to a lot of other generations. You need a good core. That's what it says here. It involves slow movement. You need a good core for good balance. So we have to start engaging the core. Your arms are there, not a workout, but just to keep you balanced. Your legs are definitely working out like crazy. Your ankles, that's very important to work ankles. So that's what we're going to do in a little bit. And of course, you can squat or lunge. So then you get really an extra workout on those legs. And the same is for the glutes. And your core muscles, when they are engaged, then you feel that you can release your lower back a little bit. You have to keep your back up. You're working your muscles in your back because you have to keep a strong posture, nice and tall, but you are releasing the pressure of what we have talked about that in pain management. You are releasing and let go of the pressure a little bit on the lower back because we do that a little bit too much. And of course, you can do it anywhere. So I really tell my students always in the classes when we do balance training, do it everywhere. Don't leave when I'm leaving, but when you are in your kitchen or when you're getting out of bed and you have some time, grab a chair to hold on to and then start doing the exercises right away. So you can do it on a bench, in the park, sitting on the beach. Oh, on the beach is good because the sand is hard to work with, right? So very good ankle strength training there. And of course, you don't need equipment, but you can if you want to. So we're going to work a little bit on overall strength and balance. We're going to start off easy. And if you're advanced, you just kind of add on tempo. You're going to add on the length of time that you're holding something, or you're going to add on movement. And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean with that. And then we're going to have the benefits all kicking in if we do about 10-15 minutes of training. Then already the benefits are kicking in. So you're going to improve your coordination, right? So your brain-body communication. I'm going to fall gracefully while you're going down. You kind of think, oh my, but you're going to have your brain immediately say it's going to be okay. I can handle it. I'm stronger. I fall. I know what to do. And it improves your core and your hip stabilization. So that is very important because the hip and the lower back will all have to do with that out of correct posture picture. So if you see that we are kind of maybe sticking our hips out and tilting them and sticking our butt out a little bit backwards, then you can see that your back is really curving, which is not good. And from there on, we get spinal injury or just pain in your back, setting in lower back problems. So improves posture, of course. Decreasing fall at any age, that's what we want. And we want to help that aid in daily activities, which is all these movements are what we call the basic movements, pushing, pulling, right? I want to push something away. I have to not fall over. I'm going to pull something. I'm going to reach to something really high up. Maybe you got to get on your toes because you have to go all the way to the cookie jar on the top shelf that you put there because you don't want another cookie, but you want it anyway. And that's what I do. I kind of hide things from myself. You want to be able to twist without falling over. That's important. You want to bend forwards, you want to walk, and you want to lean to something. And this whole process, hopefully, reverse aging a little bit. And that is all going straight back to our crazy monkey mind, which will go, oh, good, I feel better about it. I feel a little bit more balanced. I feel a little bit stronger. So that will increase our confidence there. One thing that is really important is that if you are undergoing surgery, undergoing, is that the right word? Yeah, if you undergo surgery, sometimes my language, if you undergo surgery and you already have done balance training and a little bit of strength training or core training, the simple things, it will help you recover so much faster. And that I can definitely attest to, because I have had so many patients and clients and students that at some point had hip surgery or knee surgery or anything with their lower back, and they recover faster. The doctor said, well, that is great. And they said, well, I've been working out and I've been doing some training, and so that your recovery time is way faster. So it keeps you stronger. And last but not least, very important, that you want to have a sense of that independence, being able to do things for yourself, independent living or independent going places without too much help. So that gives us a sense of good confidence as well. And it's always very good and strengthens your back, so it will prevent back pain and it will help arthritis. So even if you make the slightest little moves, especially feet, ankles, and we talk about hands and movement another time, we can do some arthritis for the hands and wrist, right? That's really exercise for that. That's really a whole other chapter. But if we work today, if we're going to work our feet and our ankles, then you feel that that is definitely good for your arthritis. So little movement, just like yoga, simple, easy stretching, very good for arthritis pain. I have that. So yes, it helps a little bit, and hopefully we keep pushing it away a little bit. So a decreasing pressure on your knees becomes good posture, becomes the benefit of it is that it will decrease pressure on the knees because you're feeling stronger and your core is engaged and your legs are a little bit stronger. So we're not going with full weight, unsupported on the knees. And the knees can't help it. I always say the knees can't help it. They're just little joints. We just have to be nice to them, and it's not their fault. So you see here, well, I put the picture in, you've seen me do that before. So with the perfect posture, I have that book on my head. That's where I was going with. And maybe you have a little plate, or here I have a box of tissues. And of course, you cannot have a bun or a ponytail. So I should be able to do a lot of movement, tiny little movement with my book or my box of tissues on my head. Or you can get a paper plate, something like that, that works for you. Anything around the house, I love that. Anything around the house that you can use for that perfect posture. Then you feel at the same time your abs, your abdominal muscles contracting a little bit to support you, and you feel some release in the lower back. So at that point, we are not all the way hunched forward, because you see what happens really to our spine when we do that. Too much forward work. And even with the kids, I've said that many times. Oh my, I remember high school and the kids come in and they go like, well, we should actually go to a chiropractor. I said, what do you mean? Well, my back hurts. I said, I've never heard about a chiropractor when I was your age, right? And now they want to have a massage or a chiropractor. And well, I said no, but I said stand straight up. But here we go with our balancing exercises for today. So I'm going to go over those with you, and then you can see what I did with them. The very first thing, I'm going to move my camera angle a little bit down so you can see my my chair that I set up. I want you to grab something and hold on to something very simple. So usually you can see my chair there. Usually just a chair. This is not even high enough, this chair. So if you have a countertop or bar stools or anything that you can hold on to the wall, that will make you feel a lot better. So I'm going to stop sharing here, or did I do that already? Oh, did it go away? Yeah, that's fine. So I have that for you, the PowerPoint, so you can find that at home. So when we're going back, I'm going to grab onto something. When I do my balance exercises, I'm always going to hold on to something. I definitely want to have that support. So even if it's the wall, if you have something on the wall, if you have a chair, then this is the way we can do that. And we're going to just start standing up straight. And I did that with you many times. And we can't get enough of it. We have to roll our shoulders back in the pockets of, I'm going to stand this way. Yeah, because it's easier for me. You're going to roll the shoulders back in the pockets of your pants when we still have pockets. And I want to engage my core a little bit, so kind of like pull together with the abs. Just kind of lightly. Even if we are doing that, we are supposed to be able to breathe. So just try to find out if you can breathe while you're doing that. So kind of pull the abs and contract your abdominal wall. Just pull them a little bit in. Yes. And I always want to have, this is really important, I always want to have my feet straight forward, parallel position. So point your toes straight forward. So when you're bending your knees, you are going over the toes with your knees as well. And that is so important to build that posture from good feet underneath and then all the way up to the top of your head, of course. And I always say, pull yourself up to the sky, keep looking up, and just pull and pull and pull. That's where it all is, right? So you have that really long and tall feeling. So when you're standing still and you practice your posture and you practice your balance at the same time, just try to feel that all your 5 toes, even if you have shoes on or slippers on, that all your 5 toes are connected with your shoe, the ground, the floor, the bottom of your feet. So feel the bottom of your feet. They're giving you some good support. See it as just as if your toes were all spread out. And I always say hobbit feet. You remember the movie The Hobbit with all the webby feet. So imagine that you have hobbit feet and that you're standing really nice and strong on your feet. If you just feel that feeling, then you feel a little bit support already from the ground you're on. And then we want to make sure that we always go a little bit outwards if that is necessary. So lift the arch of your foot. Lift the arch of your foot so that you're not going inwards, right? We want to just lift up a little bit and then feel those 5 webby feet and feel our heels. From there on, if you're standing straight up, then you can have something on your head and you can get that box of tissues or just a little book and try to see if you are actually in a perfect alignment of your spine, we call that, when you are relaxing your shoulders and you hang your hands down. So very first thing here is just kind of posture correction. And my tailbone is towards my heels. It's underneath. And it drops kind of down towards my heels. So that is a really strong feeling while I'm pulling my abs together and I'm lifting myself a little bit taller. If you want to do posture correction in front of the mirror in your bathroom or in your bedroom, it's perfect. Because what happens is that my wrinkled t-shirt in perfect posture should not be wrinkled anymore. So that's a perfect way of seeing if you are standing straight up and if you're relaxing your shoulders, you take all the wrinkles out of your top or t-shirt. So unless it's on purpose, really crazy design. But you know what I mean? If you just have a simple t-shirt, whoop, and it really falls. So the very first thing we're gonna do, and I'm imagining that you're gonna hold on with 2 hands to your chair. In this case, I'm gonna go with 1 hand. So if you're feeling a little bit more stabilized, then you can do 1 hand, but I like you to try it with 2 hands on your chair. Then you're gonna go slowly, very slowly into the very first basic thing. I'm just going to grab this without leaning towards it, right? Because then my book is coming down. So I'm going to lean into the chair, but pull myself back, and I'm going to test my balance and just lift one foot and one knee to the front. I want to bend to the front. So I'm just kind of rolling my foot up. I'm just rolling, my toes are still, my heels up, my toes are still on the floor. So my knee is going forward. I do that because if I lift to the front with my upper leg strength, then my hip stays stabilized. So we want to do that. And then we're going to lift up a tiny little bit with our foot off the floor. Not very much. So you see, I can still kind of tap the floor. And I just want to try to stand on one leg for a little breath, or maybe even 2 deep breaths. And you can place your hands near your hips if you want to, or of course 2 hands are on the chair, or even 1 hand is on the chair. But this is how we try that. So we're going to go to one leg, we roll and lift the other one without movement in the hips. We're just going to pick that foot up a little bit, tiny little bit, so I can keep my hips straight. And now I can practice standing on that leg. So I'm going to practice letting go and holding on, letting go and holding on. And so all I want to do is practice and stand for, and I feel it immediately. I feel my legs working immediately. I feel my ankle working immediately. Your foot might be just still rolling a little bit. That's very normal. Our foot are always moving because there's so many little bones, right? And so we're going to do the other side. Lift up with the knee to the front. Pull up a little bit in the core. Lift your heart to the sky. Pull yourself up all the way with a book on your head, or just a feeling right here. Now stabilize the hips. And you can do that by feeling those 2 hip bones. Put your fingers on it and feel that they're at the same level, right? We want to keep our hips leveled. And I'm going to lift this foot slowly up. And I'm going to try to balance right here. So with 2 hands on the chair in front of you, this knee does not have to come high up. I'm just wanting to pull together in the core and feel that strength. I want to feel this leg. And you see how much in alignment I am. So the legs are going straight forward to the same distance as hip width distance. And then I'm going to take it down again. Right? So you're going to try that exercise all the time, everywhere, in the kitchen, everywhere, except for in the bathroom. So anywhere you can hold on to something, pick it up again and just move slowly with your weight. So it's almost like you want to bring the center of gravity over that one heel without too much movement. And then I'm going to put it down. Yes. So you feel that? That is just a basic thing that you can do here. I'm going to take this out real quick because I need to get out of this to see you. Something happened, something popped up. So this is a very basic, and I can do it everywhere. And I'm going to add on some difficulty level for you to understand how you can add on little things to those movements. The second really big thing is that I'm going to change into, or I'm going to move into my ankle strength. So I definitely want to do that. So with my heel, we're just going to go towards that standing position, rolling, standing long and tall. And then I want to do my heel lifts, right? So if you raise up your heel, and you come back down. We want to work our balance to where we stand all the way up. Really pull our heels a little bit off the floor and slowly let go with your hands. And then roll back down. So what we want to prevent when we come back down is that you fall back in your heels. So we're going to go really slowly. You feel your abs a little bit there, right? And I feel a lot of cookies and a lot of Christmas cake and all that good stuff, right? So January, trying to be fresh and healthy. So we're going to go really slowly, holding your hips, really slowly with those heels up. And it's up to you what feels good. You can hold it here a little bit and try to let go of your helper. Or roll down very softly. So keep it up. Now lengthen yourself all the way tall towards the sky. And then when you come down, you don't want to fall back, but you want to lift yourself even taller so that you can practice ankle strength by pulling up slow and going down slow. And pulling up slow and going down slow. So that's really important for the ankles. Then immediately, if you do that about 10, 15 times, immediately you feel that ankle working. And then you're just going to loosen it up a little bit by making your circles with your feet, inwards and outwards. Or you can make the alphabet, right? A, B, C, D. And I feel that so strongly in my ankles. I feel them talking to me right away. So if you do that, but then you can do it sitting down, of course. So you can go sit down and just kind of do those ankle circles, feel that movement to loosen up your ankles. So if you do this, you are really working on your balance training, strengthening the ankles, trying to hold it, grab it back, or even let go and slowly back to the floor. And do that about 10 times. And if you can increase, just increase length of time, or you go slower, or you increase some more movement to it. So that way you can every time add some more difficulty level to it. The next one that I want to show you is that when you go up, and now we're going to work at upper leg strength and balance at the same time, we're going to add strength. So I'm going to lift my heels up. I'm going to hold on to my balance bar or anything that you're holding on strong. But I don't want to lean into it. I just want to hold on. And then I'm going to bend my knees. So now my heels are still up off the floor a little bit. And I'm going to bend my knees. And instead of leaning towards the chair, I want to imagine being away from the chair and sliding with my back. But my heels are still up and I'm sliding with my back. Imagine there's a wall behind me. I'm going to stay right there. I'm going to go as deep as I can go. Pull my abs in. And then try to let go of my balance helper. And then you place your heels down and you shake the legs out. Right? So this is really important. So now you have a very simple one leg standing balance. You have the heel raises for strength in your ankle. And when you do that with a little squat, plie, you want to call it a plie, you want to call it a squat, with your knees bent, now you have the heel lift, the knees bent, and the perfect posture. So we can try that everywhere. On the next one, I'm going to bring a little bit of movement in. So let's say that we have the right leg is the standing leg. We're going to bring movement and strength in the balance training again. So I'm going to lift my knee up and I'm going to bring it a little bit to the front. I do this on purpose, always to the front. We are out of alignment if we lift our leg to the back. You don't want to do that. And we have a tendency of falling into the hip. See what I do there? You fall into the hip. And if we lift it to the side, we have a tendency of lifting our hip to the side. So we don't want to do that. We're just going to do very simple, the knee to the front and lift it a little bit off the floor. My foot stays close to the floor this way too. So if I feel that I'm losing my balance, I'm going to catch myself immediately. So now I'm going to go on the standing leg here again, make a little knee bend. And I want to try to bring the knee straight over my foot. This is very important for alignment, that I bring my knee straight over my foot and I immediately feel the upper leg. I feel my quadriceps working. And this is really going all the way to the outside of the hip, the inside of the knee. That is your sartorius muscle. That muscle runs over your quads and runs to the inside of your knee. And we need to stabilize that. To stabilize our hip, we need to run this alignment into a stable alignment and go all the way back. And then we try our other side. So however many you can do, start just really simple and slow. Always hold on and then just lift one leg. I'm doing it from this side. I'm going to lift the other one. I'm going to lift myself up tall, move the wrinkles in your t-shirt, and I'm gonna just stay straight over. And every time I hold something, right, I can practice my balance. And my knee is all over the place. So I want to make sure that my knee goes straight over my toes. And then you're going to look far away again, because remember, for posture, we have to look far away, and we're going to try to hold on to something very, very simple. Yes. So it looks so simple and it sounds so simple, but this is so much work. And that's why balance training is training, because I can really feel my muscles kicking in, and I can really feel the knees, the ankles, lower legs. And if you make heel raises, right, you feel your calves, your Achilles, all these muscles are working. And so that's really good for your legs. And if you make your squats, your glutes are working, your legs, upper legs are working. So really good training. A little bit of more movement, and if I go too fast, then please look back at it or look at the slideshow or just reach out. So many things we can do, but I'm trying just to give you a few examples that we can do at home. So here I'm standing up straight again. I'm going to try to practice, and in this case I'm just holding on. Try just to slightly hold on to it, and we're going to move this leg without moving the hip. Now this is, in my practice, I have noticed over years and years and years of practice, this movement is really difficult to do, because what we want to do is we want to completely isolate the upper leg movement from the rest of the body. So we want to have the femur swing into the hip socket there without any other movement. So I want to pull myself up, make myself as tall as possible, and just really gently try to find, and the whole purpose, of course, that we're going to find balance. So I'm going to add movement to it, and I'm going to have my balance there. So I'm going to try to hold on, let go, hold on, let go. And we do not have to make a New York girl cat swing. So your leg does not have to go all the way behind your ear. So it's just very simple, right? It's a little bit of a what would you say, a pendulum movement, but I'm so trying to keep the rest of my body really still, because that is important, that you keep yourself tall and you keep the rest of your body still, so that just your leg can swing. And then you go two legs. Never mind, there was a joke. You can't do two at the same time. The next one that I have in the package for you is a really difficult exercise as well, but really effective. And that's why I want to give that and bring it to you so much. What is the time here? Oh, we're good on time. Yes. So the next one is really, really weird. We're going to hold on to something really effective. Now I'm going to practice putting my foot in front of the other. And I'm going to squeeze my inner thighs as if there is $100 bill between my thighs that I need to hold. So I feel activation in the glutes, I feel activation in the thighs, upper legs, of course, outer thighs, outer thighs. I'm in Texas, outer thigh, outer thigh, outer thighs, inner thighs. Hold the abs, lift yourself tall, and try to balance. It's really, really difficult to balance with 2 feet in front of each other. So we can feel it immediately. Right? I want to just kind of squeeze all those muscles, feel that activation of the core muscles, which is my belly, my abs, my outer thighs, inner thighs, upper legs, hamstrings. I feel everything working, the glutes, and it gives me a really good, strong stabilization right there. And then I'm going to move a little bit to the front and to the back heel. So I'm going to move a little bit to the toe and a little bit to the back heel. Just kind of waving, looks like this from the side. Just kind of waving, whoop, forward, as if I'm a really stiff plank. I'm going to move a little bit forward and a little bit backwards. Really forward and a little bit backwards. I want to keep that tall posture. I want to feel and think high and lengthen my body, but I want to just do it a little bit, oops, at a time. Yes, yes. And I really feel it immediately. It's such an effective exercise. You want to add on to that? Now we go crazy. Now we go crazy. You want to add on to that, which I do in class a lot. Just put the feet in front of each other, and then you're going to try to bring your body forward into a tabletop position, and you're going to lift your body back up. And that is increasing in difficulty level. So don't go there yet if you are still a little wobbly with 2 feet in front of each other. So 1 foot in front of the other, then try, of course, the other side. Kind of bring it all together, feel the strength in your thighs and everywhere in your legs, and then try to just kind of wobble a little bit forwards and a little bit backwards. So those are some really good beginners exercises for you that you can start with. Now, one more thing that I want to share with you, if you just want to do some things to sit down and to try to find the balance, for that matter, I'm throwing everything on the floor. Whoop. Now, when I'm sitting down, I always want to scoot up to the side of the chair as much as possible. So I have, when I sit up here, I want to go to the front of the chair. I think I did that with you. I'm not remembering. We did so much last year together. When you sit and you want to try to improve your posture that we've been talking about, come from slouch on the couch to the tall posture. So I feel that I'm sitting a little bit behind my 2 sit bones. We call that slouch on the couch. And it's like a Netflix pose, right? And then all the way up, and you pull yourself long and tall. So now I have an imaginary wall behind me again, and I can practice. I want you to scoot forward to practice your leg strength. So if I want to practice my leg strength, I'm just going to lift this one up off the floor. At the same time, I have to keep my balance. Don't want to fall off. And I'm going to put it down. And I'm going to do both sides a couple times. So very simple, but very effective. I can feel my core muscles activating because I have to use them to keep myself sitting straight up. Otherwise, what I want to do, if my leg lifts up, I want to roll back. But I want to try to get that 90-degree angle in the hip and in my back, from the hip all the way to my back, to my shoulders. So that's a really good strengthening exercise. If you want to start with that, just lift up. You feel immediately that your upper legs are going to work. If you want to make it a little bit more, if you want to increase the difficulty level, you're going to stick it out and hold it. And oh, I feel all those muscles immediately kind of pulling into my hip and strengthening my upper leg. So that's very targeted, as we call that in fitness, targeted exercises. There's only certain muscle groups that you really want to strengthen. And if we don't strengthen our upper legs, we can't help ourselves with balance. So those are really good starters right here. And the last one, of course, up and down. One of the basic things that I say, keep going up, keep looking up, make yourself lighter. And if you are ready for this yet, and this is a decrease in difficulty level or increase in difficulty level. So you want to do this when you're ready for it. I do it with a lot of people when they come in for personal training. Kind of see how strong you are. You're just gonna all the way up, no hands, all the way back down. I had to look for a second to make sure that your chair is not rolling away, and come back, sit down. Right, and you really strengthen the legs right here, and you come slowly back down, and I feel it immediately. And maybe you can do 20. Maybe you can do 5, and maybe tomorrow 6. It doesn't matter. So wherever you start with that, it is so important that we can keep doing that we can keep going up and down in the chair. Hopefully a good chair, right? You want to have one of those dining chairs that you can use. And for that matter, yes. So that was basically some of the basic exercises that I wrote down for you that I wanted to show you for balance. You can do it everywhere. You can hold on to something anywhere you are. And I want to open it up for questions and more if you have anything anything. Does it make sense? Did you get something that you didn't know yet? Did you get something out of it, etc.? So please let me know. I just want to open it up for questions. Yeah, we can add strength training. You can add Tai Chi and yoga, of course. Tai Chi, excellent, excellent, excellent for balance training. Excellent, because it's a little step to the side. That's the movement that I left out this time. Let me add that real quick. And you just kind of fall a little bit to the side and you step back in. And you fall a little bit to the side and you step back in. So you go to the right and you step. And you want to just make it more difficult? Go to the right and lift your knee. Or touch the floor and lift your knee, right? But if you had a little movement, moving your weight forwards and taking your weight back, moving your weight sideways and taking your weight back. That is the basic movement of Tai Chi, and that's why that is so good. There's not a lot of other movement to it, except for, you know, lifting your heels up higher or your knee up higher, anything like that. Questions? Whoop, whoop.
That was great. Does anyone have any questions, comments, how they felt, or how to get into a movement for Elian? Anything? Jen, go ahead.
So I sprained my ankle a while ago, well, September, and
Yeah.
these movements I've been doing some very similar to what you did, but today was great. I mean, it taught me, like, I don't do it for as long, and the sequence and everything. I mean, I felt it in my legs immediately doing it.
Yes.
I was very happy. Yeah, it was really good. I have some of the other, like the Basu ball, and I do it on the steps too. And I see how it helps balance and building the strength of your ankles, which is really important. So this is great.
I'm so glad you said it, because most of the time we think, oh, we have to go to the fitness center. Oh, we have to go to physical therapy, which is this is my approach. It's not physical therapy, but it's my somatic approach, right? And as a remedial trainer, I do the same thing, but then coming from a fitness or dance background, it is more little fitness things that we put in there. And but it's so simple. We don't have to go to see somebody or get help every day to go out and go there without, you know, getting the benefits of it. Thank you for sharing that. I'm plugging in here real quick. I'm with you.
So we have a question from Sandy. Can you please explain falling graciously? How would one fall graciously?
There is no such thing, honestly, to falling gracefully. But I mean that in your own mind, it's like a mindset. If you feel a little bit stronger and you feel that you are supported and you work your core and you work your leg strength, you're going to fall regardlessly, because everybody trips once in a while or falls off a stool that we want to try to reach for something in the kitchen or something like that. You feel less scared. That's what I mean with it. So falling gracefully is not something that I'm not trying to make it real sexy for you when you're going down, because that's but if you have, for instance, worked on your strength, if you worked on your arthritis, what's it called again? Wrist. Yes. If you have that and you feel a little bit strong in your arms or your shoulders or your core, then you are, for instance, not so afraid to catch yourself if you go forwards. Correct? So I mean with that, I mean, it's a funny way for me of saying, I want you to feel mentally supported when you are going down. In a fun way, It happens in my groups, even if we're doing a balance training and we're doing a little yoga class, or we're trying to do a very small little tree with our legs don't have to go really high, and sometimes somebody's kind of like going down, including myself. I've done that before. And then you want to not break a hip. So it's a mental state of mind. And it's, of course, the work that you've done for it to get there to where I call that now we can fall gracefully. If we fall, we feel mentally more supported and stronger. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. Yes. And I see Rose, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Okay, I've had both knees replaced. I'm not supposed to fall because I can't get up. You're not supposed to put pressure on them. and I have fallen several times. I'm due to have some eye surgery, removing cataracts on both eyes. So for a while, I'm going to be going like this. And I know that my balance is off when I only have one eye to see with. Can you give me some ideas on how to help myself so that I'm not falling? Because it's going to be over a 2-month period of time.
Thank you for that question, Rose, and my prayers for your procedure coming up. It is really difficult. One thing that is a no-no: you cannot close your eyes practicing balance. We just don't have it, except for a couple of circus kids and people that want to be on America's Got Talent. But and maybe they're still peaking, right? I don't trust it. You cannot find your balance if your eyes are closed. With one eye, it's also very difficult, Rose, because you're losing your perception, right? In the first place, you're losing a large portion of your environment, and you're losing that perception, what we call gosh, I lost the word for a second. I'll come up with it.
Propiovision.
Proprioception. So that means that you know already your space. Proprioception is knowing where you are in space, right? And creating awareness, front, side, back, all that. That becomes really difficult to be aware of the proprioception if you have one leg. So not that you one eye, sorry, one leg. Ew. Ah. So if you are on one leg and you pick one up, then you can do that, but it's really difficult. So please hold on to something while you are training all the time. So don't even try to let go. Just hold on and just create awareness of still feeling a little stronger, maybe on one leg. You can still do your standing leg on one leg, but you never want to let go of something that you're holding on to. Grab a person, grab somebody, hold on to something, because that is what you do not want to do. One eye closed, you can immediately feel it. It's a really weird sensation.
Yeah.
And we can get better at it, but I wouldn't suggest it. I mean, we can do a lot of other fun things instead of worrying about that. So
Okay,
absolutely, Rose, prayers and love. I love you. Thank you for asking. And with my whole heart, just don't go overboard. Just a little bit feeling inside, right? A little feeling inwards, holding on to something once in a while, picking your leg up. Great. Because
Okay.
absolutely, I want that for you. Absolutely.
What if you're having pain in your kneecaps
Yeah.
doing the exercise? You shouldn't exercise. I don't think you should exercise while you're having arthritis pain in your knees.
Any pain in your knees, thank you for that question. Any pain in your knees it's not good. And I always say our knees can really help, but they're just bony things. But it's usually because we lost some form of posture, and we're not aware of that, but our posture is not correct. Sometimes, and that's another thing, I can go about that whole thing again. But if our feet sometimes are not placed in the right way, it has a lot to do with the knee pain. Sometimes we have just done too much on our feet, that might have to do with knee ballast. And sometimes our inner thighs are not strong enough, and that has a lot to do with knee pain, but we were not aware of it. So if we don't keep strengthening our inner thighs, for instance, that's why I say, put that little dollar bill in between your thighs and start squeezing them, just imagining how you immediately feel those inner thighs, right? And if you feel that strength, that will support your knees. If your knees are hurting to the point that you can't bend your knees, don't do it standing. Don't do it. If they're hurting, don't do it. I always say there's two forms of pain: the really good pain that you like so much because you've done something, and the bad pain you already know I shouldn't do it.
Oh.
I cannot be your instinct, and I have no clue what you're feeling, but I can from only experience tell you that I tell my patients and my clients exactly the same thing. If it hurts, tell me. If it hurts so good, do more of it. Right?
Great,
So
yeah.
it's like one of those things that you have to know. If you can bend your legs, you put your full body weight on it. That's why the knees are so sensitive. Our full body weight goes down into those knees and ankles. So if we are not feeling good, if you cannot really lift them up or balance with it, then please be very careful and just do the sitting exercises to make your legs a little bit stronger. kind of lift them up one at a time, try to correct your posture sitting, those kind of things.